Hey guys, Brandon Gallups with the PNN Network here, coming to you again from Dallas, Texas at the Hear the Watchman Conference. And it is my pleasure today to introduce you guys to Mr. Bill Salus, author, conference speaker, teacher, preacher, and Messianic Rabbi Zev Porat, a good friend to PNN and a partner with PNN. And many of you know about Rabbi Zev's ministry in Israel in particular. And then also, if you follow him, you know that he has done ministry in China. And of course, now he's here in the States with us, been here several times. And Bill, I know that you have, through internet capabilities, television, and other, you have literally preached the gospel all over the Middle East at this point. And so we just wanted to sit down and have a conversation with these guys and get their ideas on how we might come together. Zev, as you often say, the one new man, Ephesians 2:15, the Jew and the Gentile gather together and administer the gospel to the world, helping to fulfill Jesus' words, what many believe to be the key to Matthew 24, when this gospel of the kingdom is preached to the end of the earth, then the end shall come. So, Bill, thank you for being with us today.
Well, Brandon, it's great to be here, especially with Rabbi Zev. It's quite an honor.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Zev, I know you have personally been into China, worked with the underground church there, and have ministered in that environment. So, just give us a little bit of feedback about what's going on there in China and what needs maybe can be met there.
Well, many times people go to China and they come back to Israel or other places in the world and they tell me, I've seen churches all over China. But what they don't understand is those churches are government churches, meaning they're controlled by the government and the true message cannot go out. I mean, it's the message of Jesus, but it's limited to, you can't preach about abortion, you can't preach about Israel, so there's not enough to preach, or it's not really a church. So people think there's a lot of churches in China, but what really is happening in China, the real churches, congregations are underground.
Yes.
And those are the ones that are preaching the word. Those are the ones that are understanding what the end time revival means, what Israel means. They love Israel, they pray for Israel, they're getting embraced in the embraced roots of Israel, and that's where it is. The revival in China is unbelievable. I personally believe that Isaiah 49 verse 12 is speaking about the nation of China. It speaks about the nation of Sinim. Sinim in modern Hebrew and in biblical Hebrew is the nation of China. We know that it was written by the prophet Isaiah before China was a nation. It was dynasty, but that's why it's a prophecy, because it foretells something before it happens. Yeah. And that prophecy, Isaiah 49:12, is in motion right now. We're seeing revival in China like we've never seen before. The government doesn't know what to do, because they can't control people. So they issued in 2008 that the underground the congregations, if they register with the government, then it's okay. Well, it's been a decade. Now they can't even take the registration anymore. There's so much. So they're trying to suppress the gospel by persecuting right now in China again. What happened 20 years ago is happening again in China. It started with the taking off of the crosses with the churches that were registered with the government, but they were preaching the truth. And that's why they took the crosses off. And now the persecution is beginning again in China. It's not going to stop, because you can't stop it. It's out of man's control. And it's getting more difficult to get into China, but whoever God wants there,
that's right,
will get there. And the Bibles are also, we're going back to the time where it's getting more difficult to get Bibles into China like it was. That didn't happen. To print Bibles in China is getting more difficult again, so it has to be smuggled in. It's amazing to see. I went into congregations in China where they told me, this is a small house group. When I got there were 1,200 people. We've got footage of this. This is our small congregation for security reasons.
Yeah.
You go under a basement, and it's unbelievable. I thought I was in Jerusalem. Flags of Israel everywhere, shofars blowing. It was amazing.
Yeah.
And this is happening. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's interesting, Zev. So obviously you've alluded to it. I know you've told me in personal conversation that the people in China grasp the importance of Israel in the times we're living in. And man, the church in the United States is so divided over Israel, and well, that doesn't really matter, and that's a spiritual Israel, physical Israel. Israel is the key to understanding end times. And these people who barely have access to the gospel get it.
Absolutely. Bill just delivered an amazing message about Israel. So we do have many believers like Bill in America that are standing for Israel, understand the truth. But having said that, the other side is that there's also the controversial side that they don't understand what Israel is, or they think Israel has nothing to do with them.
Right.
But without it, if you take Israel out of the Bible, you've taken everything out.
That's right. That's right.
There's nothing left.
And Bill, I know that the majority of your writing centers around obviously Middle East prophecy, Iran, Israel, Iraq, and everything that centers around that. So maybe tell people that may not be familiar with you, might not have seen you, some of your books, how
Sure.
you got into that and where you stand on that.
Yeah, well, Bill Salus, I have a website called prophecydepot.com, like Home Depot, Prophecy Depot.
Okay, all right. Everything prophecy.
That's right, yeah, it's a depot. And I've gotten books written about Psalm 83, the concluding Arab-Israeli war, Iran, the double prophecies there with Ezekiel 38, but also Elam and Jeremiah 49. But my heart for Bible prophecy has led me toward understanding the Middle East because, as Zeb has said, Israel's the centerpiece of end times Bible prophecy. As a matter of fact, the big deal that's going to come up is the Lord is going to make His holy name known in the midst of His people Israel. They shall not profane it anymore. The nations will know He's the Lord, the Holy One in Israel. That's in Ezekiel 39:7. That's the statement that the world will know after the Lord supernaturally stops a formidable advance. It's led by Russia. It also incorporates Iran, Turkey, 9 populations altogether, North African countries, and some of them, etc. And it required that Israel was back in the land, the Israelis would be in the land, Jews in the land, and the land of Israel would exist. And these are two integral components of the unconditional Abrahamic covenant. Russia's going to try to come and take that away, take their livelihood, but God's not going to allow that to stand. So that's the big prophecy, but there's all these peripheral ones too that we're trying to let people know about, dealing with the final Arab-Israeli conflict, and probably a nuclear prophecy in Iran in Jeremiah 49, verses 34 through 39. So fascinating stuff, but what drew me to Bible prophecy, and especially in the Middle East, was 9/11, when the towers came down.
Yeah.
And a lot of people were saying, finally someone had kind of an answer, because it caught the church off guard, it caught everybody off
Oh,
guard.
absolutely. Yeah.
And Chuck Smith, the founders of Calvary Chapels, he's since passed away. He had come out and said, well, you might want to be watching Ezekiel 38 in light of what's just happened in 9/11. And I thought, well, thank you. Someone's talking about Bible prophecy. But I thought to myself, Chuck, and I admire him. I grew up in the Calvary Chapel thing, that sort of stuff. I thought, this is not about Russia. This is not about that. This is about terrorism, which is the ugly byproduct of the Arab-Israeli conflict. When the Arab states could not defeat Israel conventionally in the wars of 48, 67, and 73, they started to adopt terrorism and propaganda. And so we see these ugly terrorist groups coming out through the Middle East and that sort of thing. And so I started focusing on the Middle East prophecies that I felt were relative for our time.
Yeah. It's interesting because you just named several nations in the course of what you were talking about. And all of those nations you talk about, of course, we just flip on the TV on any one of our multiple 24-hour news networks, and they're all always on the TV.
Mm-hmm.
Front and center of what's going on in the world today. Iran constantly breathing out threats of destruction against Israel, and threats of nuclear war. And you mentioned Russia. Of course, they're doing business in the Middle East right now, allied with Syria. They've drugged China into the Middle East. China has its only off-country military installation in a little unknown African country called Djibouti, with 10,000 soldiers stationed there in a naval base, right there at the edge of the Middle East. Syria, Iran, Russia, China, all allied in the Middle East, and of course, we're waiting to see how all this unfolds. But
well, it's heating up, and
it is.
Something epic is about to happen. Something probably biblical, something predicted.
Absolutely.
And so, the rumors of war just can't continue to go on at the level they are. At some point, someone's going to attack Iran.
Yeah.
Or
Iran will attack.
Or Hezbollah is going to get the go-ahead from Khomeini to start lobbing his missiles into Israel. They've got, in 2006, they had a 34-day conflict, Hezbollah and Israel, and lobbed 4,000 missiles into northern Israel and kept many northern Israelis in bomb shelters for about a month. But now they've got about 150,000, they estimate, missiles, and can be fired in at a rate of at least 1,000 per day. Wow. That's not going to be tolerated by Israel. They will lash out. They will have to do something. Their Iron Dome can only do so much to protect them.
You made another statement. You quoted Scripture saying that the Lord will make Himself known in those times. And we were talking off camera about this because you have testimony and witness of this, and I know that you shared about this all over the Middle East right now. We see Muslims, Jews, talking about Jesus visions, visits of them. We're talking Paul and the Damascus Road kind of stuff here. Supernatural conversions, not you or I standing in front of someone with a Bible saying, "This is Jesus. Here's who He is. Get on your knees and repeat after me." We're talking God showing up to people through dreams and visions. Acts chapter 2, of course, they were referencing back to the book of Joel there, but in those days, your old men will dream dreams, your young men will have visions, and we're seeing a part of those words fulfilled where? In the Middle East.
Amen. And I want to interject about China. China, the revival in China is expanding to Israel, and I'll explain what I mean by that. China is the only nation in the world to receive a 10-year visa right now to Israel.
Yeah.
The only nation. 10-year visa. Now, even Americans don't get 10-year visa to Israel. We get 10 years visa to America, but you don't get 10 years visa to Israel. Only China does. And why is that? Because the government cannot issue so many passports to Israel. They all want to come to Israel. The wave of the Christians want to come to Israel and bless Israel. And they say, we'll give you 10 years. That's their explanation. You and I understand that it's the Holy Spirit working, allowing them to come to Israel. But they say, we can't just all day long stamp visas. We can't do it. Just give them 10 years. And they're coming into Israel. And if you go to Ben Yehuda Street in Israel, which is one of the main streets, you'll think you're in China. They're all Chinese there. They're all blowing shofars. Do you know that if I leave Israel, I have to go through security with my shofar as an Israeli? The groups from China, they don't go through security anymore because they know what they're coming for. They know they're not a threat. They just let them on the airplane, because if they have to go through security, you're going to have to check 300 Chinese on an airplane. That's going to take you 6 hours. That airplane's not going in the air. So they just let them up. It's an army of Chinese warriors that love Israel, and that's what's happening right now. Wow. And it's provoking the Jews to jealousy. Paul spoke about this, Romans 11:11.
Yes.
The Jews are asking, what is this? What are you doing over here?
Yeah.
And the gospel is being preached. We have an opportunity to preach Psalms, Isaiah 49, verse 12. Sinim. It's right now. We could open the Bible in the Old Testament and show them this. And then they go, wow, and they want to see who Jesus is. And salvation, it's just a God thing. It's amazing.
Can I say something? It fascinates me as I hear you say this, because here you would think that America would be so pro-Israel, the American Christians, and many of them are. You wouldn't necessarily think China, of all places, would be so pro-Israel. But what's happened in the church in America and in much of the Europe is become replacement theologians.
Absolutely.
They believe that God's pretty much done with the Jews. When the Jews rejected Jesus, God rejected the Jews. Now the promises and the prophecies, the Jews were the children of the promises, but the children of the fulfillment would be the replacement theologians of the church.
Yeah.
And so we're finding a lot of Christians in America don't even believe Israel exists today in fulfillment of Bible prophecy,
yes.
that God's got a plan for them in the end times. So I'm just excited to hear that Chinese people are getting onto this and understanding this.
It's amazing. Next time you come to Israel, you and I can walk the streets of Jerusalem, and besides the fact that you see their Hebrew on the signs, you'll think you're in Beijing.
Amazing.
The Lord works in mysterious ways.
Yes, He does. Yes, He does. Bill, you said something interesting in your presentation a few moments ago, and I had heard this fact before, but that Iran has one of the fastest, if not the fastest growing Christian population in the world right now, growing at a rate of, I think you said 18%
per
year.
That's right.
Astounding. Astounding.
Yeah, absolutely. It's incredible. I call it supernatural evangelism that's going on in Iran and places like Syria as well. Even in Pakistan, it's going on too. I've done some sermons in Pakistan over Skype. But because why? Because these are places that are repressed, that missionaries can scarcely get into if they want to get into it. It's so dangerous. So the Lord is taking it upon Himself. He's rolled up His sleeves to accomplish the will of His heart, that none should perish, but all should have eternal life.
Yeah.
Personal encounters, dreams, visions, miracles, healings.
Yes.
Most every Iranian that comes to the Lord, and they're estimating roughly several million at this point in a country that I think's got about 83 million. I don't know the exact count. Have had an encounter, a dream, a vision, a healing, a miracle like this. And, that's what was talked about in the Bible. These things happen, and it's natural for them. When it happens, they're like, yeah, that's what the Bible says will happen, right? Yeah. So it's incredible to watch that.
Yeah, it's interesting. I was just thinking as you were talking about that, God said that if we didn't do His work for Him, even the rocks would cry out, right? So, you find it interesting, a country like Iran, one of the most heavily persecuted countries in the world for Christians. And so, literally, you and I could not go into Iran and preach the gospel. God just says, it's okay, I'm going to take care of it. I'm just going on my own. I don't need you guys to do it. Yeah. It's amazing.
In other words, what part of I wish that none would perish don't we understand? Right?
Yes.
He's reaching. Yes. He's still reaching into all those necks of the woods.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
we're having
absolutely.
Arabs being saved in Israel. I mean, the last place I want to go into is a mosque. I mean, you can go in there instead of me, Bill. But,
With the Bible.
No comment.
But when God tells us to do something like that, and we know it's God, we do it, and we're seeing supernatural things. We do have some pictures in a mosque. We don't get very difficult to get all the pictures, but we have an imam that we witnessed to him in the mosque, called me about 6 months after that, and he said, Muhammad never visited me at night.
Yeah, yeah.
This is in a mosque in Israel. And the guy gets saved, leaves his mosque, hiding in a basement with another Arab trying to change his name right now. Maybe, we don't know, maybe he'll have to leave the country because, they might try to kill him.
Absolutely.
But this is what's happening in Israel and in the Middle East.
Yeah.
This is Bible prophecy come to life. We've never seen anything like this.
And see, that kind of a decision, like the one you had to make, your testimony is incredible. That counts the cost of being a Christian.
Come on.
The price paid by Christ. These guys are being persecuted for making that decision, kicked out of their families. This guy's probably got to leave the country, like you say.
Probably, or change of space, or I don't know what.
Yeah. See, American Christians don't really understand the cost of the cross at this point. I mean, I don't want to generalize. Many do, but
Yeah, as a whole, I believe you're 100% correct. Yeah, and I don't know. I don't know that we truly can understand it living in such a free country where we can gather together without that threat of of death or imprisonment. We don't have to take the crosses off of our churches yet. They may come here, but it's just amazing. I just want to encourage people. Take this second to encourage people. We do live in the freest country in the world. We have the opportunity to reach more people than anybody in the world. Let's get busy. Let's do something. The theme of this conference has been to activate. It's what Mike Hurd said, the Lord laid on his heart. So let's just encourage folks as we wrap this up. I'm going to give both of you guys the last words, but let's give folks a word of encouragement to put this into action. Let's activate. Let's do something because we have the opportunity here like no other place in the world to share the gospel. You don't have to go to Iran, Bill. Have you ever been to Iran?
I've not been to Iran, no.
But you have been.
I've been through satellite television.
Yes, and that's the point. Through these technologies that we're using right now, God gives us a fulfillment of Matthew 24. I'm taking the gospel to the ends of the earth. So let's activate, guys. Bill, I'm going to let you and Zev have the last words, and we'll wrap this up.
Okay, I'll go first. I'll say the last word. Well, it couldn't be more critical and urgent than now, like you're talking
Yes.
about. We don't know how much more time we have to redeem. The Bible talks about an expiration date on the present earth as we know it, a final generation. All the biblical prophetic signs, which I watch very closely, are starting to converge,
Yes.
which is an indication to me that we're so deep into the end times. This is the final generation. There's no weapon that hasn't been fashioned, no technology that's not been formed, no national relationship that's got biblical implications that's not developing or already developed. I mean, this could all start to happen soon and sequentially, one prophecy leading to the other. So we've got to get busy as the body of Christ and redeem this time because, frankly, I don't think we have a whole lot of time left.
I tell people all the time, we could literally wake up tomorrow morning and the headlines of Drudge could read something about Israel shooting down a Russian fighter jet or multiple over Syria, and then there we are.
Yeah.
Right in the midst of it.
Yeah.
It could happen at any time. Zev?
Israel's not going to tolerate jeopardizing their security. The God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob is not going to allow it. And the government's not going to allow it too. I mean, Benjamin Netanyahu is clear. I mean, on the Israeli news, he says, look, if we feel threatened at a level that we think is dangerous, we're not asking anybody's permission. We're going to go and we're going to take care of business. And I believe that he'll do it because God is behind it. And as the Bible says, you can't touch Israel. God is going to intervene. We know what's going to happen. And what Bill is talking about, this is what the most important thing right now is to get the gospel out through technology, through sending out missionaries, whatever you can do, because it's all about the one new man, Ephesians 2:15. And then bringing the gospel to Jerusalem, we have to go through the Arab nations too, through Turkey, through Iran, through China, through everywhere we can on that journey to fulfill the Romans 11:25, the fullness of the nations, the Gentiles coming in. It's all part of that. And then all Israel shall be saved, Romans 11:26. And that's what it's about. I think that we're not setting any dates. No one knows. But there's never been a generation closer to the second coming than this generation. And it's our duty and our job as believers, as brothers, everybody watching on this broadcast, to go activate your faith and get busy and do what's necessary to do to bring the gospel back. And understand that you are part of Israel. You're spiritually Israel. You're grafted into the olive tree. It's not Israel here and the Christians here. It's Israel and the Christians as one. It's the one new man. That's what it's all about. It's one gospel, one God, Father, Son, Holy Spirit are one. There's one New Jerusalem, and there's one way to salvation, and that's only through Jesus, Yeshua.
Amen. So remind people where to find you, brother.
MessiahofIsraelMinistries.org. You can find our website. I encourage you to sign up for our newsletters. Sign up, send your prayer requests in, and we go every 10, 12 days to the Mount of Olives. We pray for each one of your prayer requests, and we'd love to hear from you. And let's stand together in prayer, bring the gospel back to Jerusalem, and go home.
Bill, if you do the same, tell people where to find you.
Yes, prophecydepot.com, like Home Depot. We talked about that earlier. We also have a newsletter, free email newsletter. We keep it active. We get it out about every couple of days. And we look forward to having you come there. We got our articles, and we have a news report we do daily too. You click on news, and you can see we examine the current events through the prophetic lens. Keep up fresh on.
And how can people find your books? I know you have several books out, so how can people find those?
At the website, we have talks about a little bookstore button, and then at Amazon.com, I've got quite a few books and products there, DVDs as well.
Great. Guys, thank you for sitting down with me today and taking the time. Thank you for the work that both of you are doing. Big shout out to Mike and Jeannie Kerr for putting all this together this weekend, Hear the Watchman. If you've never attended a Hear the Watchman, we encourage you find the next one. August of this year in Long Island, New York. They're amazing, absolutely professional, and thank you guys for your support at PNN. We'll see you next time.
Thank you, Brandon.
Thanks, Brandon.
Absolutely.
So
Guys.
appreciate it.
Well, you guys were talking is all I could do to keep from clapping. That was amazing. You guys were amazing.
American Survival Wholesale is proud to sponsor this ministry and their efforts to shed light on the issues that face our nation. As a veteran and Christian-owned and operated company, we support the freedom to express these Christian principles. We all understand the importance of being prepared. After witnessing the devastation of Hurricanes Harvey, Irma, and the wildfires that affected so many, please support this ministry by clicking on the link below and check out the amazing alt media package for our listeners. Plus, if you use the promo code PNN Radio, that's PNN Radio, you will receive free shipping, a savings of up to $200. Just click on the link below, but please do it today. Your support means so much to this channel.
The Satanists wanted to install their own tribute, a pagan idol, on the Capitol grounds right next to the Ten Commandments.
Billions around the planet are witnessing a world in the grasp of sadistic spiritual darkness. This unholy alliance has infected our governments, our religious institutions, and our societies. The world appears to be unraveling. But can the evil behind these dark supernatural forces be defeated? Is everything playing out just as the Bible predicted it will in the final days? At last, you can know the answers to mankind's most urgent questions and learn your destiny among today's events in the new, unprecedented work taking the prophecy world by storm. Gods and Thrones, Nakash, Forgotten Prophecy and the Return of the Elohim by best-selling author, former decorated law enforcement officer, and senior pastor Carl Gallups. This changes everything. Available now wherever fine books are sold.